that thing since I've had it for all these years. Well, what's the
I've got a
definition of junk? Something that you have for keep for 20 years and throw away 2 weeks before you need it. So
yeah, well, definition of junk is stuff that your kids don't want when you pass away.
there you go. That works too. Hey, I've got a question for you with this
Sure.
particular scenario. Are we stuck with the orders we have at the beginning, or are we able to change the orders um, during the first uh, during the order phase? So I can't change the orders for Davout because he's not on the map
Right.
at at the start. But like for Saint Hilaire, he's got hold orders. Am I able to change his orders? And you've got like hold orders or defend orders or whatever. Are you able to
I've got
change your orders?
yeah, I think we can, and I think that, we need to well, first of all, we haven't talked about this. Do we wanna include, fatigue points, or do we wanna just play with orders?
Let's just try it with orders. I mean, I
Okay.
didn't see anything about fatigue points, so that must be like some optional thing somebody's got on Board Game Geek, or
That is, Renato does that on Board Game Geek, and he's taken all the scenarios and assigned fatigue points and all sorts of stuff. And he's actually not rewritten, but he's reimagined the Battle for Night Quarters like it really was, where you have to move the Russian artillery through Eylau and retreat it. So anyway, it's
oh,
all
that sounds cool.
very optional.
Well, maybe the next time we play that one, we will. Or so does he have that stuff up on Board Game Geek?
Yes, he does. He has a in the variants section, he's got one, I think it's called Renato's Variants.
Okay, I will look for it because I have a friend coming up on Saturday, and we're gonna play it face to face. And I thought it might be fun to include that just so he gets a overall flavor for the game, not just the basics of movement and whatnot.
Oh my,
So,
yes, I recommend it highly. I got in an argument with it with one of the 2 editors, one of the Marks.
right.
He hates variants. He wants it to be an accurate simulation, and Renato put all this work into it, and I was so happy, and I thought it was just great. So, anyway, I think that the real way to play these is with fatigue points, and Renato has tried to balance them out so that, you get 50 or whatever for this scenario instead of the 220 that you do for the full game.
Right. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting. Interesting. All right.
yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
see you've
you're
got
also right
your
to
setup here, and you've
yeah.
got, it looks like this is the left wing artillery, and then you've
Left-wing
got,
artillery is here. In fact, let me turn on my setup markers. Left-wing artillery is within 2 hexes of that.
okay,
Oh,
all right,
looks like I messed up one. I messed up one. Sorry, sorry, sorry. There we go.
all
So
right,
now they're all within 2 hexes. And then here's Davout, and here's the
right.
left-wing cavalry reserve.
Okay, interesting. All right, and then, yeah, I'm actually just set up and started to play the grand battle scenario for La Bataille de Eylau. Ed Wimble and Clash of Arms
Oh,
is in the process of redoing it, and so this will be. I think they had. I think the Marshall Enterprises had published it back in the maybe late '70s, early '80s, and then Clash of Arms published their version in the mid '80s. Um, and he's had a couple of reprints, but this is the first time that he's kind of actually kind of redone it. So I'm looking at like your units, his units,
yeah,
not yours, but the ones that are over here because I'm playing the Russians in the playtest,
right.
and I'm like, well, you know, these guns do not look like they are part of the left wing. We've got these big Russian heavies, but these ones I don't recognize. We
Hey, are
don't
we
have.
live? We should probably take this live. Do you think? I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
we
interesting
are live.
conversation.
We're
Oh,
live.
great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's why. But I see now that
Yeah.
they're horse guns, And so there are horse guns that are attached to who I think, yeah, I think Bagavoo has some horse guns attached. He doesn't have any light guns. Um, so he doesn't have any light guns like these, but he's got horse guns attached in the Labatai version.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Well, I think
so
that I would trust them because I know that Uwe has made some decisions to make things better. For instance, I think that the French Second Cuirassier Division is actually elements of two divisions that he put together in one. I think one of the regiments is supposed to be somewhere else, and he put them all in the same one.
yeah, well, there's
I'm not.
it's actually the First Dragoon Division, I think,
Oh,
because
okay, maybe.
when LaSalle comes on, um, leading Ney's Corps Cavalry, he's got two regiments of dragoons from, I believe it's from the First Dragoon Division, um,
Okay.
and so they show up then. But so it could be that when, just for the sake of the first, keeping everything consistent, he's got the stuff all together. So that's probably going to give him the First Dragoons at least another
Yeah.
increment or two, or another unit or two. And is it the case where you've got these guys facing in this direction, or your
This is a
infantry?
game. This is a game, Eric, and I'm a little bit gamey.
Okay,
And so I looked at this, and I'm spilling the beans on this. The victory conditions are that you capture Sapalin, Zelsgarden, and Melanchine, and you have to capture 2 of 3.
okay,
I have very little infantry, so I can't hold it, and the infantry is based over here in Sapalin. So if you
right,
outflank me, I got a lot of problems.
okay,
So I thought the very first thing I would do, and I think the Russians actually did this, is they started swinging their line north, and then they got driven back from Salzgarten through the birch forest and up here to Alkloppen,
okay,
farther north. So the next scenario forward, I think the Russians are defending Alkloppen, Lampash, and Kushitin. So what I did is I just set myself up and said, if I sacrifice Chapala now, I lose 1 of 3 victories.
right,
But if I
but
can get my infantry
yeah,
to Salzgarden, your cavalry can't, well, you don't have any cavalry.
yeah.
You're going to have a lot more problems getting there, and then use my cavalry. I'm spilling all the beans. Use my cavalry
As a
screen
screen,
to
yeah, yeah,
delay you going
absolutely,
north.
yeah. Well, particularly because I was looking through, because we talked about this last week, that uh, there doesn't seem to be a way for the infantry on their own to come to grips with the cavalry. So,
Yes.
for example, in a Labatai type situation, I could march my infantry up, and you could reaction charge, and then you'd be tired or exhausted or some level of cavalry fatigue, and then I could march up some other guys, and now you wouldn't be able to do anything, and then I could shoot at you or attack you or do something. So it's kind of it doesn't give the cavalry complete, the complete ability to totally get away from the infantry. Although in some rule sets you still have like this evasion type of thing where you can always fall back. But then I was looking at um, the rules here, and I'm like, well, if I march up and then you move back, could I still get a parting shot? Hey, Igor is saying hello, and Wardrobe Plays WW2 are saying hello. Hello, guys.
Hey, hi
Um,
guys. Hi Igor.
yeah, and so the but if you do the evasion or you pull away when the fire cube is pulled, it's the same difference. You can't there's no shooting. So the only way I can do anything to your cavalry is with my artillery. That seems to
Yep.
be the only way that I have any hope of doing anything. And otherwise, I just kind of come up and push at you, but kind of push you back and you just give ground. So I don't know. We'll see.
It,
But that's part of it is just kind of messing around with it and testing it. But yeah, you're right. When I was looking at this too, and I'm playing the grand scenario with the Clash of Arms stuff, and I'm pulling out of Sir Fallen as well. So it's just completely untenable. I know, he's swinging all of the heavy cavalry, the French heavy cavalry over there. So he's got like I know a cuirassier and two dragoon divisions heading around that side of the map.
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm playing the full battle scenario and with Mark Trowbridge, and I'm doing exactly the same thing. I've moved two Dragoon divisions and a Cuirassier division down around here, right? So I've got a load of cavalry sitting here,
yep,
and I'm just holding a line here. And then I've got all of Davout's infantry coming up.
yeah.
And I'm not going to speak any more on that because it's going to have impact on this game. But I moved my cavalry because there's all this Russian cavalry here.
Yeah, and you've got those Cossacks, and I think the Cossacks are, they're almost magical in that they can run away from everything. They can't necessarily fight any. They're not going to stick around and fight anything, but um,
No, they
they
don't.
will. Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't need
I,
to.
I yeah, I made a mistake of trying to use them to defend something once. Wow, what a disappointment! But I think they can screen, so we're gonna find out.
Yeah, I mean, let's read the rules here so everyone is aware, myself included. So Cossacks may not charge enemy infantry or unlimited artillery through their initial front hex sides. Um, Of course, those units can pivot 60 degrees and make things unpleasant for the Cossacks. But if the Cossacks want to charge, they've got to make a check. Roll 2 dice. There's no die roll modifier. If the result is greater than 8, the player launches the assault/charge. If the Cossack unit is adjacent to an enemy unit and failed its check, it can evade. Okay? And then it says here Cossacks may always evade by retreating 1 hex if an enemy unit moves into an adjacent hex. The
I
moving
think that's all
unit,
units.
yeah, I mean, all cavalry does to my knowledge, right?
Well,
The,
I think that means all cavalry does for infantry or artillery moving next to it, it has an evade. But I think that Cossacks can evade from cavalry
yes, it
as well.
says if an enemy unit, right, which is different than the,
Rule 26.
yeah, Rule 26, where you can evade artillery and infantry.
Mhm.
So yes, so they can. So if I move my cavalry up, they can move back away from the cavalry. Um,
Mhm.
the moving unit does not need to stop its movement and may continue to move if the moving unit enters again a hex that's adjacent to the same or another Cossack unit. The later can evade again, and the moving unit continues its movement. An evading Cossack unit can't change its facing. A Cossack unit may not evade into a hex adjacent to an enemy unit or into an obstructed hex. So, as long as you've got a clear path of retreat, those guys can just kind of dance around anywhere and just
Yeah.
and so what's going to happen is the way this works is I move adjacent to you. It costs 1 for the hex I'm entering and an extra 1 because I'm moving adjacent to an enemy. So that cost me 2 hexes, 2 points, right? Then you move back, a hex. And now I can move forward if I still have movement points, but now that hex is going to cost me 2 movement points. So it's kind of the equivalent of the Labatai skirmish cavalry, which
Right.
costs the moving infantry or artillery costs them extra movement points to come adjacent. So it does the same thing at least for those guys, and for all the other cavalry have then that similar sort of function. So that's kind of cool how that works.
Yeah, there's I'm finding more and more that the way that these interact that are really smart and really fun. So I'm enjoying the game system and I'm enjoying playing through the scenarios. So this is great that we're being able to do this.
Well, good. And I
Um,
had a chance to start going through the rules. I'm looking to try to get a sequence of play cards for it, like I've done for some of the other rules. So one thing that I did notice in the rules that I think we might have done wrong last time regarding tired cavalry is it says cavalry becomes tired after retreating. So um, it does say cavalry that's involved that launches an assault, aka a charge, becomes tired. Um, but if my cavalry that's on the defense stands, or we have a push, they won't become tired. But if they're forced to retreat as a result of the combat, then they'll become tired. So that was something that was different that I hadn't noticed before.
I thought we did that, but you're right. That's the way I remember the rule.
Yeah. So okay. Well, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
and I
more
made some
thing.
other notes.
Um,
Yeah. Sure.
I understand that they have kept the night battles scenario. That the entry point is within 10 hexes of the road from Freiheit. So that was discussed, and they decided to keep it. So
So which road is that? Is that the one you were coming in, or is that the one that's further
that's
north?
it's the one that's further north. It's the one that I posited was not correct. So if you scroll over the
So it's this
maps
one
right there,
here, right?
that's one. That's
Yep.
the one they want you to come in on.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the one that in the La Bataille series uh, copy of the game, that's where the French are coming in. So that's why,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's why when I had done my initial setup, I was set up sort of in this arc over here. Um, and then you're like, oh no, no, we're coming in over here. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Uh, well,
So
the consensus, the BGG people were wrong, but I think that honestly, if you look at the maps, that really was the entry hex. But it's a game and it's a training scenario too.
right,
So it was set up to allow you to learn how to use the units and how to get into cities and all that. So it is what it is.
cool.
But I was wrong.
Well, that's fine. It's good to know. I will then inform my colleague when we play on Saturday. So,
Great.
cool. So we start off with this particular one. And what is it, the 9 o'clock turn? Do we have the turn track correctly set? I
Yeah,
think.
I think we do.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
And
Um,
it's
yeah,
on
and the
snow.
weather is snow. And does the weather affect movement?
Not that I have found. I read somewhere in the designer's notes that cavalry is shorter range because specifically the cavalry was having problems with the snow.
Well,
So I
that's
couldn't
why
prove
I
it for
think
you.
that's why their overall movement is less, is I think
Yes.
what they have. So, if this were a nice sunny day, instead of their movement being 6 or 8 or whatever it is, it might be a few points, a few ticks more.
Yeah, I think exactly so. So the scenario card is actually set up correctly.
Okay.
Bagavoo is on a defend, and the reserve cavalry and the reserve artillery. Oh, the reserve cavalry is on a move. Bagavoo is on a defend, and the artillery is on a defend. And you
Right.
guys are coming in on whatever you come in on
Yeah.
moves.
And it looks like um, it snows, so the artillery is limited to a 4 hex range. And there doesn't
Yes,
seem to be any other effect other than on army command points.
yes, which are not
Yeah,
in
which
play
we're
here.
not playing with this. Okay. All right. Well, that's what I wanted to check. All right. So, as far as changing orders go, right? I could try to change the orders for Saint Hilaire. You could try to change the orders for your units, correct?
Right.
Yep. Okay. And so,
But I think that your units that are coming onto the board have to come onto the board before they can change.
yeah, no, they're stuck with the move orders. So
Yep.
I'm going to see if I can change Saint Hilaire's to an attack order. So I guess I'd have to roll an 8 or less on the 2 dice.
Eight or less on two.
And I rolled a 5. Okay,
So
so
you can change orders.
woo woo, we can go wild. All right, and
I
that
am going to see if I can
is
change orders on my guys. Got a question for you though. Here we have the artillery reserve doesn't have a commander, so I don't think it can change its orders ever.
Oh, wow. So they're kind of stuck.
They're moving slow, but they're
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah,
defense, so
yeah,
they can move
yeah.
ahead.
So they can move one hex. So, do we have any particular boundaries? I mean, I don't think it would be fair for me to move Saint-Hilaire's division up here around behind the artillery because you've got the 3rd Division parked here, right? So we want to say
Yeah,
that, do we want to say that, you know, basically nothing, nothing north of your Grand Battery here is a
in
reasonable target.
well, I mean, we can make it go a little bit further north, or we could not at all. Hold on just a second here. I think I got some counters here that would actually make that work. All right, if I go to Russian setup, I can drag this guy out, and he doesn't show. Let me just do this.
Well, I see
Get rid
what
of
looks
this.
like just a red outline of a hex or a red outline of a counter.
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
What's it supposed to be?
It's supposed to. I think it's set to only show up on a one of these layers here. There
Ah,
we go. See, I just dragged extras out. We have first division. So it's now hidden. So if I click on first division, I got a shift click on it. There we go. So I can change the label to north, and then I can drag that and say no further than that.
okay. So that this hex here then is our. Oh, it just disappeared.
That was the other one. So now the one that says north is the right one, and I can change this
Except I
to
don't see
set
it now.
radius to 0.
Except now I don't see it. So the other one, at least I saw like what looked like a little red outline of a counter, but now I don't see anything.
You don't see anything.
Yeah,
All right. How about this guy right here, third division?
yeah, 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 yeah. I see that.
Okay, so south of third division. So it still gives you a chance to flank, but I'm going to be able to turn and get local artillery
Oh
fire
yeah,
on you
you'd be
too.
able to
So I can
pound
move
the
one in, for
stuffing out of
instance.
me. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's that. Um, all right. And then
I
did
think
you?
that's one of the things that I'm going to add to the next version of the module is some sort of a marker, because this has come up in a couple of things. Where is your maximum? Because under the night quarters, it's a big challenge to grab your cavalry and just come way over here and come way behind, which means technically you're riding through the entire Russian army.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause the French cavalry could do that.
yeah,
No, they could move it.
um,
They couldn't do it.
yeah. And we talked about that when we played that scenario. Um, Next question is with the if you're going to be making a modification,
Yep.
what I would really appreciate is if you made a counter that had like a big red arrow on it, um, so we could put it down to indicate, okay, this guy is attacking this guy, right? And you could then put a counter on top that's got the arrow pointed because we have to establish our assaults at the end of the movement,
Yeah,
and so this would then be a way to to achieve that.
I agree. I think that's a great idea. I will make a counter and bring it up, and hopefully we can get that. Um, we have added a new um, a new tab on the side, like the move tab. That's the stand question mark. So when you lose somebody through retreat, then the counters next to it can apply that marker so that it just says, hey, you got to do a stand check,
Oh,
but you got to
cool.
finish the retreat first.
First,
So
right,
now you've got one that's retreated. Now you have a couple or three
right.
that now need to take a stand check, and you can tell which ones need the stand check.
Okay.
And there's a graveyard now.
Okay, cool.
So
Oh,
and
yeah,
let's dive
that's
into
good
the
that there's a
graveyard.
graveyard, yeah.
Yeah.
All
There's a
right.
few other things, but some things haven't been agreed upon. So those are the ones I'm talking about because those are the ones I know.
Yeah.
And we're
Well,
working on getting this together for Quattrobras, which is, hopefully will come soon.
good. Very good. Well, I just got notice that my copy of 1793 is shipping, so I'm excited to see that. So,
That looks like a lot of.
yeah, I've got a couple of buddies who want to give that a swing. So, all right. So,
All right, good.
you've got to try to change your orders for people.
Right. So here goes Bagovu.
And
So I got
he's
him.
able
That's
to
great.
change. Yep.
And then I've got the left wing artillery beside isn't going to change.
Right.
And I've got the cavalry reserve. So I think we're good.
Okay. You're not going to change the cavalry reserve. You're happy with him on move.
I'm happy with him on move because I
Okay.
don't think that you're going to get that close to me
Yeah.
this
Well,
turn.
and
I
couldn't
wanted to speed.
you reaction or evade anyway?
Yes.
Yeah.
On move, you can do those things.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So now we go to the bucket. I will have. Um, it looks like we've already got all the chips in. There should be what I think.
I think there should be 11. I think that there are, let me just, I have the scenario information open. So there should be 5 French ACs, 5 Russian ACs, and 2 fire combats. And you
Okay.
have one of the French ACs should be out and on your chart. Is that true?
Yep. Okay, that's where it is. Because I'm like, I know I'm supposed to have the initiative on the first turn. So
Right.
okay,
Right.
cool. Um, so what shall we do? Let's go ahead. I've got 5. We're gonna go ahead and bring in. Who is that? I think we're gonna bring in Friant. Friant has got the cavalry, right?
Yeah, he's got the 2nd and
Yeah.
the 12th chasseurs.
Okay. Right. And he is the 2nd division. Okay. So, 2nd division of the 3rd Corps. We'll give him an activation, and we got to park him somewhere here between these 2 flags. Okay, so we'll have that. And let's have these guys. Everybody's coming in on column. Is it between the 2 flags or including the 2 flags? What's the wording on the scenario?
Right here. 3x, that's French. I gotta scroll. Where's my mouse? Oh, it's over here. There we go. It says between the 2 flagged hexes.
Okay.
So if I'm going to be pedantic, I think that is non-inclusive.
Okay. That is fine. All right. So they're going to march on. So are we counting the first hex of the map, or are we saying they are
The first hex, there's actually there's a very la bataille answer here. The first hex that is more than 50% on the map.
Okay.
And technically you're supposed to move your division leader
Last.
last.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gets him there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's also 8 away. These guys are going to go 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These guys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then the artillery 1, 2, 3, 4. This is when I was wishing that I had horse guns with this division. Oh well.
Oh
Okay.
man, I always wish I have horse guns. That French horse gun rule is actually really, really nasty. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay. That was my big activation. So we go over to the bag of goodies.
And I will pull. And I got another
Hey, it's
French.
another French. Okay, cool. Let's see what we want to do. Um, if we want to bring somebody else on or move Friant up a little bit further. So, artillery can't move through the woods, and artillery can't move through the town unless there's a road there. So, no artillery is going here, no artillery is going through there.
Right.
Um, okay. Cool. So, yeah, we'll give another one to Friant. So let me pull up the
Okay.
board and drop it on him. So the artillery, the everybody's moving a little slower, right? So the cav is 2 less, and the infantry is and artillery are 1 less. Okay.
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's as far as they can go, given the rules, right? With movement orders, I have to stay at least 1 hex away, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So those guys will go up there. 1, 2, 3, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. Let's see. Where do I want to go? 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So I've only got 5 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll put those guys in the woods there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, that's as far as those guys are going to go. Cool. So now we go back to the bag again, I guess.
Hold on, please. I've got to just take a call here. This is my wife, and I think I need to get um, tea up to her. So hold on just a
No
second.
worries. I can vamp. All right. So, Igor, you were asking about the Russian infantry in the center having a strange orientation. So, Matt has decided he's not going to fight for Sir Fallen or Sir Paulin. And so, if he did, he just gets surrounded by the French. And this is the only infantry he has, so he's going to bring it back to Klein Sausgarden or to this other location. Those are the two that he's got to hold. So there's really no point in him leaving his only infantry there. So he's got him already turned around, ready to run. So that's why they're there like that. Now, with the La Bataille game that we're playing, with the playtest I'm doing for Clash of Arms, I've got these Jaeger battalions deployed in skirmish out here, and as the French have come in, they've slowly been falling back through the village, while their sort of beefier counterparts, there's a couple of grenadier battalions, are kind of back behind the village, and then I've got the cavalry out on the wings, slowing things down a little bit for the French. So, but even then, Sir Fallen is not. He just with between Saint Hilaire's division and the all the cavalry he's bringing up, that Davout hasn't even come on the board yet, and so he is making havoc with that. So Sir Fallen just can't be held in this historic scenario. So, all right. So if you're tuning in, we are playing the Davout's attack scenario. This is for the Battles of Napoleon Eylau 1807. We are using rules version 1.5. And we've had 2 activations so far. For the French could potentially get a 3rd activation. And if they do, then any activation after that would have to be a Russian activation. You can only get 3 activations in a row based on the current set of rules. So that's how that works. And if I were to activate Friant a second time, the movement is 2 less for the infantry, artillery, and 4 less for the cavalry. So you get diminishing returns as you come marching on. All right. Igor writes,
Hey,
in my
Pat, sorry about
opinion, complete absence of whole battalions deployed in skirmish order in the system, pretending to portray all the Napoleonic battles is a miss. Yeah, I mean, I know they have these units represented, but they don't really. The skirmish effect, at least how this rule system seems to be where you're paying for it by entering the adjacent hex. And so I think that's how they're doing it. And because the Russians at this time didn't have as robust a skirmish capability as the French, I think this rule system kind of captures that, in that the French can push into an enemy hex with only the extra cost of 1 movement point, while the Russians are paying 2 movement points to enter. So it's kind of simulating the that cloud of skirmishers that would have been out in front of most all of the French units. You know, that was something that they had developed and was very and was a prevalent you know part of their strategy. So I think this kind of captures that with that extra movement cost. So,
just
and
a comment here.
yeah,
One of the things that's is great for people who would like to explore the system further is to listen to an interview with Uwe. And there's a couple of them online. I think you did one.
yeah, I interviewed Uwe back when the Kickstarter and everything else was first going. And so that's one of the reasons why I've been as patient with this game as I have, because I really liked, what he was talking about. Obviously, the counters on the map and everything else are very attractive, and so the frustration that I felt with, the rules and everything else, which I think a lot of people also shared, um, uh, is uh, is mitigated by the fact that he's got an interesting concept. So I was willing to give the game system some more time. So
I highly recommend getting it in his own words, because he has reasons he's doing these things, and sometimes they work out and sometimes they don't. But yeah, he didn't put skirmishers in. That was one of the things he talks about specifically at times.
yeah,
So
yeah. So all right. Well, so I've got another activation cube, and I've got people that could do something exciting or not. Um,
Or you
so
can bring
that
in the
is the
third division.
question. That is the question. Where do we go? What do we do? Um, all right, let's activate Freont a third time. Oh, actually,
Woohoo.
no, we need to draw a cube.
Right.
Oh, it is another French one after all. Okay.
So for everybody, the third activation is -2 movement points for infantry and artillery, and -4 movement points for cavalry.
Yep, yep, yep. All right. So we've got that. So we can go. This guy can move. So everyone's in command currently. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Gets him over there. These guys will move here. 1, 2. Well, let's wait on them for a second, shall we? One. And it's 2 less, so it's going to cost 4. And we get up there. Okay. All right. So we will leave Mr. Freont here. We'll take the infantry. We're going to go 1 and 3 gets us there. And then here we've got 2, 3, 4. And then this guy's going to go 1, and that's going to be 3. And so he's gone as far as he can, and then the guns are going to go up. 1, 2. And then the cavalry is going to move right. Can they go there? Yes, they can. So they'll go there, and then I need to move Freont. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. That was it for Freont's big movement.
Right. So for everybody that's joining, you have different activations, but when you get 3 in a row for one side, then it flips over to the other side automatically. So if I pull a French cube, I've got to replace it to pull a Russian.
Right.
So I'm pulling my activation and I'm getting a green.
Hey, it's a
So it worked
Russian.
just right. Okay, so first thing I want to do is, let me just think about this for a quick second. I'm going to start with Bagavuz's corps.
Okay.
Where is he? Right here. So let's go ahead and move. So Igor, I have to apologize. I thought to myself, you're not going to be very happy when I'm giving up land from Mother Russia to save the army. And then I thought to myself, oh, what the hell? This is Prussia. Who cares?
Yeah, this is actually well, I guess
Doesn't
nowadays
matter at
modern day
all.
Poland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
Actually,
Mother Russia.
technically, I think it is modern day Russia. They adjusted the border in 1948 and brought this in.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, it's in the Königsberg Oblast.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess it would be.
So that's 2, 3, 4, then 5. This guy is going to move him off and move these guys 1. Oops.
Grab the stack.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2. just checking, make sure they're all sixes. They are. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this one is all, that's a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll leave it at 5. Now, the cavalry here
Yep.
is all Davout.
Correct.
So the 2 lancers and 3 hussar regiments.
Yep.
So
I
I'm
recognize them
going,
from our last scenario.
right, yeah. They were the ones that were in the town. All
Mhm.
right. So I'm going to see where my command radius is, and I can go 1.
Well, don't you move him at the very end?
Yeah, but I'm just checking to see where I want to put him,
Oh,
so that I
okay.
can figure out where I can move my units to keep them in range.
Okay.
So I'm going to move him. This is where he actually is. So I'll turn that off. And now I'm going to move this. Let's rotate him first. Oops, wrong way.
You had a 50-50 chance.
1. And I'm going to turn this guy in, bring him. Again, I don't want to talk about it. I really don't want to talk about it. I really loathe this keyboard command, and I can't get anybody to kind of get traction on this.
With the arrow key thing?
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why it's for all the other, at least all the Labatai modules that I've played, it's all Control Z and Control X because it's right there. You could use just the one hand to rotate the units.
Yeah. I feel like I've talked about my design philosophy in Vassal, and what I do is I don't even use modifiers. I just use keys. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, A, B, C, whatever it is, and
Right.
that's it. And it goes so fast.
This is when you're programming things, or
Yeah, when I build them.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
well,
will
the Clash of
trade.
Arms guy, not Clash of Arms, but the Marshall guys are looking to put out a print and play scenario to go in conjunction with the one that they just published, which is Egmol. And so I said, hey, that might be a fun one for people to have as a vassal module because if you don't
Oh my
actually
God,
have the
yes.
game, you could then play this smaller, battle. That's part of it. And so I said, I know a couple of people that can do the programming. So we'll have to play test it a few times. But
We should we should
but
we
yeah,
should talk about it. I contacted um, Dennis a while back,
right.
and I was like, I do Vassal modules. These would be good in Vassal, and it was very much like Monty Python. It's like we don't need a Vassal module. We have a very nice one ourselves. Thank you. So if
Yeah,
we can get some traction, I'd love to do that.
they are not as interested in adopting that as Clash of Arms. Ed's been really good about getting that stuff out and letting people develop it. But for whatever reason, they have an older mindset to it, or maybe there's something about their arrangements where they are less likely or uh, to switch something over. All right,
Well, that's the
so
beauty of creating a game. You get to do what the heck you want.
exactly. All right, we'll go back to the bag. I'll grab a chip, and it's the French again. How convenient. So I've got 2 chips left, right? So I've got one after this, and then we've got to have a bunch of fire things in there.
Yeah.
So that's going to be exciting, I'm sure. Um, and let's see. So I'm going to bring in Mr. Davout and his good friend Mr. Morand, and we will get them kind of rolling up.
You make them sound like attorneys.
the the law firm of Davout and Morand. Yes, there we go. Let's see. Grim Harbinger says, "Yeah, I wish I could afford to buy ECMO, considering it's a one print thing, but alas, never any money, let alone shipping it over here." Yeah, because you're over in the UK, aren't you? So here's how you do it, Grim. You tell me what games you want, I'll buy them, and then you just fly me over. And I will then spend a week helping you unpack and clip counters, and then we can even play the game. So that's the way to do it.
See, $1,000 delivery doesn't seem so bad when it comes with a friend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, not only that, but somebody that is going to teach you how to play the game, for goodness sake. So, well, or one of these days, right? I want to try to make it to Bioticon, and so I know that's. Ah, I do have horse guns. It's a miracle. I can take a pot shot at you. All right. So let's go ahead and march people on. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll bring the guns up. So 1, 2, 3, 4 gets them there. And then these guns, they were 1 hex behind the other guy. So that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They could actually go further if they wanted to, but they will forego that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gets them there. Oh, no. We'll bring on the light troops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That gets them there. All right, these guys are 1 behind, so that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These guys need to be in column. So that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6. And then Moran will hang out there. And Davout will... leaders have got how much movement? 12 movement or 12? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I bring him on here, then during the orders phase, he could move to join Friant at the beginning of next turn, right? To change Friant's orders. Okay. If I felt I needed to.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right. That is my little chip there. Oh, let's see. Grim Harbinger says, "Hey, considering my mom is a travel agent, it would be a good deal for me." Yes. Come on. Let's do it, Grim. Let's organize it. So start sending me a list. So
hey, I gotta add that there's a lot of counters. You probably need 3 guys to clip.
There we go. You want in on this trip there? Is that how it works?
I am not ignorant of the ways of weaseling my way into trips.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
The cube, you didn't put the cube on your chart.
Oh, where did I park it? Is it still on the map somewhere, or is it in the on the thing? Oh, okay.
In the bag.
All right. I got so excited, and that's Morand is the first division. So, all right. Cool.
There's my cube, and it's fire.
Oh, exciting. Well, I think you've only got a couple of shots with some of your guns over here at these poor guys.
Yep, unfortunately, or fortunately. So the rule with snow is that artillery is range 4, so I'm at range 4.
Yep.
So these are horse guns, and their range is 6. So, well, 4 is within 6, so we're good. And let me get my charts up.
So they're going to be ×1. So these guys will be on the 6 chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, and these guys will be on the 6 chart also.
I think so.
Yep. So you've got two rolls on the 6 chart from the looks of it.
But it's a -1 for snow on fire combat.
Oh, okay, with a -1.
Does that
But
show
are
up on your
they?
chart? I've got the version 1.5 charts.
Yeah, I've got the version 1.5 too. We
Yeah,
just haven't fought in the snow before, so that's why I haven't looked at it.
right.
Okay, and then you're not heavy cavalry, or I mean, you're not heavy guns, so
Nope.
you just have the -1 on the roll.
Oh,
So
but I am maybe firing on column.
no, these guys
No, I'm
are
not.
in
Line.
line.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okie doke. So here we go. Here's the first roll.
So that's going to be
9.
a
Well, that's not too
9.
bad.
No, that's not
Oh, I
a
got
9.
one.
It's a 7.
It's a
So
7.
on the
M-
6 chart,
minus
that's a miss, right? Because it's a 8 minus
8,
1.
8 down to 7.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you just missed me.
Sorry. I only do addition
That's
in
definitely a
in
hit. So a 12 becomes
which
8
goes
and
to an 11.
11. So that's 2 hits.
Well, that's still all right.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Better than a poke in the eye.
Indeed.
Cool.
Okay. So it's your draw. There's no more artillery because there's nothing more in range.
Let's see. Grim Harbinger says, considering I'm a Brit and we are kings of sarcasm, even I can't tell if you're being sarcastic. So there's clearly some Brit in you, Eric. Yes, there is. There's a lot of Swede, and the Swedes are well known for their sarcasm. No, not at all. So yes, I grew up watching, Monty Python, Faulty Towers, all that good stuff. So I whatever humor I have, it's all been twisted through that lens. So, all right.
Yeah, 200 years and you still scar us, you bastards.
Yeah, exactly. We can't get too far away from you. All right. Well, cool. We've got then I don't know what's our next
The
exciting
next thing we
thing.
do is we pull a cube, and I caused this, so
Oh, okay. So we'll
you pull.
grab another cube. It's a Russian cube. It's the wacky
Yay. Okay,
Russians.
good. All right, this is where I want to be. So we're going to do the left wing cavalry reserve.
Okay.
All right, and so they're
on movement orders, so they can
not go adjacent.
Yeah.
I'm just going to move my. All right. Okay, so if something is out of command range, it can stay stationary or it can move towards going in command range.
Correct.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and move my Cossacks out of command range. And then if they have to move, they'll have to move back towards the commander.
Right. And that's what's interesting is you're moving the commander at the end, but you're supposed to move the out of command guys back in. So it's one of those things.
Yep.
I think they just need to kind of figure out the order first.
Yep. Agreed. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, So I didn't move him facing wise in between, but he has the range. So
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah, he's got plenty of movement. They could fly across the map.
okay, all right. So I got to think, withdrawal mode here. It's hard to think backwards.
Hey, sometimes it's hard enough just thinking forward. What are you talking about?
I think that's a pretty healthy spot. We can go here. Yeah, that's even healthier. Okay, that's where I'm going to end this one. Okay, so
Okay,
we
we're
go.
back to the bag. I think it's your draw, right?
I believe it might be. Go. Over to
And
you.
it's the French. Okay. So that's my last little cube of excitement. Um let's see. I think we'll spend it on moving Marand. So let's go over here and plunk it down. And everyone's moving one less than they had before. Okay. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4. Gets them there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gets him up there.
Oh, Eric, I just noticed you're all facing sides and we're all spines.
Oh, yeah. I'm so used to La Bataille. I've been playing La
Yeah, me
Bataille
too. I
all
hear you.
all day long here. So, okay. Well, that's easy enough for me to fix. Let me move everybody and then I'll just give them a twist.
That's
1,
the one.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't really get too terribly far. We'll just put him right there. 2, 3. We'll march these guns up there. And these other chaps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then these guys will go there. All right. That's it for me. It's my big exciting activation. Woo woo.
Actually, technically, I think that Davout should have stayed in the hex because he's only supposed to move in his order's face.
Oh, so he would march on during the other thing?
He has to enter at some point, and it would be
Right.
kind of silly for him to ride out alone before his guys get there. But I think from here on out, he has to move during the order's phase as the corps commander.
Right. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Let me be specific, as the French corps commander,
Right.
not the Russian. Yeah.
So if he came on the map, right?
Yeah, he could have gotten 12 in the first, so you can move to wherever.
Yeah.
Probably the same spot. He's just probably gone there first.
Yeah. Well, what I would have done is I had Friant already moved, so I could just move him so he's
Put him with Friant.
there with Friant. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. That is my exciting cubism. So we'll go back to the bag and we'll grab what's out there. We've got at least another shot. Hey, there's a Russians.
Another shot and a couple of greens. Okay, so
Yep.
I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to put him on the artillery reserve.
Okay.
Okay, so drag that. Artillery reserve. Now, normally in a game I wouldn't tell you, but we know ahead that's on defend and it doesn't have a leader, so it's still on defend. So that means it can only move one hex in any direction.
Yep.
So it's going to be just that.
All right. Just putting them out of reach for me to attack this coming turn.
Yep. And I'm going to actually, I'm going to adjust some rotations. Now when I get the arrows wrong, I'm just going to pretend I'm right and keep going around the clock.
There you go.
Yeah, I did it again.
Do you have a about face?
No, we don't have an about face.
Okay. Yeah, because with the modules for Battles of the Age of Reason games that I play on Sundays, the ones for La Bataille, Control B will rotate the counter 180
180.
degrees. Yeah.
Clever. Yeah, I like that. Yep, I like that. We're just kind of, we want to know how many more game mechanics we're going to have to worry about because you know, we're coming up with the next set of battles.
Well, I think having
Large-
some
large
kind
network.
of assault marker would be helpful.
That's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah, and then you just drop that down. That's not something that was in the box, but I got enough assault markers from La Bataille. I can use those, but we don't have any equivalent over here in this module. So if you had, and there's not a lot of game markers, are there?
No, but a lot of them are built into the unit. So
Yeah.
if you click on the unit, well, what's built into the unit is also there in the markers, but there aren't
Right.
many overall. But if we did this, I would build it into the piece, so every piece has an inherent assault marker. So you just right click on it, mark assault, and it would go in the facing of the counter.
Well, I'd like it if you also had a separate piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that too.
Because what I want, because I'm planning on or hoping to do a series of tutorials, and it's nice that if I can say, okay, we're doing a movement tutorial, and I can draw arrows for stuff, or I could say, okay, this unit's got 2 front-facing hex sides, and I could put an arrow here indicating the 2 front, and this guy's in column, and so he's got 4 facings or whatever, and then you could mark what's what. So being able to do a tutorial in Vassal, it's usually easier for me to crank those out than trying to film it on the tabletop. where I
Oh,
have,
I have,
yeah.
yeah,
So that's,
you're right. We can
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
So far, they have been very, very uh, open to additional things that make the gameplay better on Vassal. So
Yeah.
some
Well,
people
cool.
are really, they're like, nope, it's got to be cardboard. If it's not the cardboard, we can't do it. So I'll bring it up, see what we can do. We're in the midst of talking about stuff like that, so it's good timing. So
All right. So we just drew. So we got another cube. I don't know
green,
whose turn it is to grab it now.
just
Hey,
another
it's a
red,
fire cube.
and we're
Um,
all out of range.
yeah, everybody's out of range, and I don't have anything to shoot at you with anyway. So
Okay, so I want to pull the last one.
I will make it exciting. The tension builds. It's green.
Oh, who knew?
Yeah.
Well, I better do something with it instead of just moving. I'm going to put it onto the artillery reserve.
So do you only have? I thought you had as many activations as I do. Do you have?
Nope, I have 5. You have 5, but you started out with 1 to start with.
Okay, because
So let me just flip
I'm looking at your board, and you've got 3 on your cardboard. Are we out? Do we still have 1 in the bag? No. Where is
you
your
did.
other cube?
Don't know. It should be 5 each. Let me just check the setup. So let's just see. Okay. So it's over here. Do, 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 do.
Oh, I
Each player
see.
has
You've
5
got it.
PCs.
You must have picked up. If you look over here on the artillery
Oh,
reserve, there's 2 cubes there.
yeah, I dropped that wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So that's what it should be.
Okay.
So we are officially done with the turn.
Okay. Cool. All right. So there's no tired cavalry. So that's that excitement or lack thereof. And so I guess what we would just advance the clock and
That's it. Go ahead and advance.
okay, let me move that forward.
And then we are in clear
Yep.
weather.
Cool. The weather is clear. All right, and then we would go to about the orders phase.
Right.
So then it's a matter of whose orders we want to change. So for me, I want to change the orders for both Friant and Morand. Now, is there a particular order in how this is done? So I do the corps leader first and then the division leaders, or I do the division leaders and
You do
then.
the corps leader and then the division leaders.
Okay, right.
You're supposed to use up the core CP, but we're not using CP, right? So the CP is the command points, which division leaders don't have. So you're supposed to use those up from the army and corps first, and then roll for activations.
Right. Well, the corps leader can only activate whoever he's stacked with,
Yeah.
right?
So
Yeah.
just use
So,
that as an
and it's
automatic.
basically, it's not automatic. I still have to roll. I still have
You
to.
roll the corps leader's initiative, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
10.
yeah. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I have to roll a 10 or less, and then if he
As opposed to a 9
fails,
or 1.
then I'd have to roll for Friant. So
Yeah.
here's for
Yeah.
Davout, and he just barely handed the order over. So we can then change Friant's orders to attack. Let me go ahead and clone that. And Friant was the 2nd Division. Okay. And then we're going to roll for Morand, same thing. And he easily takes the initiative. And we're going to clone that as well. And now he's there. Okay. Cool.
All right.
All right.
So I would like to change a couple as well. I would
Sure.
like to change my left wing cavalry to attack. So I need to roll a
7 or
7 or less.
less. And you
Woohoo!
do. All right, you can be attacky.
Okay, and I want to change Bagavoo to attack. Now, the Bagavoo is an 8, so he makes it also.
Yep.
The reason I'm going over to attack and not staying on movement is because I can do the same things on attack that I can do on move. But attack takes off 2 more fatigue points. Since we're not playing with fatigue points, there's no point in it.
Right,
So
but it
I'm going to
also
go ahead
gives you
and
the opportunity to move
respond
into a
better.
zone of influence, right? Or
Yeah,
move adjacent to me and attack, right? So if I
it
go
does.
sending some person off on a wild mission, then you can go boop and you could surround and attack or do whatever. So I have to be a little bit more cautious coming forward, knowing that you have the potential to do something unpleasant.
To reach out and touch you. Okay,
Exactly.
so the next thing we need to do is we need to reset the bag. We should have done that at the end of the last turn. So I'm going to hit the reset bag marker.
Well, I'm presuming that I've got a cube out, right?
You're
Since
presuming you definitely have a cube out. So
yeah,
we need to pull one out for you because I think I just put it back away because the other ones have to go into the bag. Oh, here we go.
yeah,
So if you look at the activation bag, you'll see
yeah.
that there's
We'll
5
just set one off to the
cards,
side. Okay.
right? And
So there
then
goes the
there's that old thing where you can't drop it unless it's on the little
right
red box.
exactly there. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Cool. Cool. All right.
go ahead.
So now, and then we've got Gudin as a potential reinforcement. Um, so if we feel like we need to use him for any reason, let's see activations. Okay, so we've got that. So now we got to go over to the board and we got to figure out who we're going to move first. Let's go ahead and move Friant and see if we can't kind of mess around with your screen here in some way, shape, and or form. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That would get them there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those guys are in the clear, 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 clear. All right. All right, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 gets them there. The Cossacks could react immediately.
They can. So I'm going to evade there.
Okay. All right, and I don't have enough movement points to go any further. So do these guys want to evade or not?
No, they'll stay there.
Okay, cool. All right. All right, I'm just trying to read up on evasion. Okay. All right. Yeah. So there's just no way to catch your cavalry. Simple as that. Simple as that. Fiddlesticks. Okay. All right. This guy's going to move here. So that's 1, 2. Are you going to evade? Are you there, Matt?
I was muted. There was dog noise. Sorry about
Ah,
that.
okay.
Yeah, no, I am not going to evade.
You aren't. How exciting.
I am not.
All right. We're going to go here 1, and we're going to go there. Are you going to evade?
I can't.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I knew there had to be some way
By
we
the way,
could kind of pin you.
there is a reaction that I missed. Can I go back and take my reaction charge here
Oh, yeah, sure.
against the column?
Here, let me go backwards.
Sorry, I kind of missed that as I was
Okay.
swapping things about.
Yeah. So you want to do a reaction, so you could do that. So I've got 12 and you've got 8. So that would be
So that
1 to
comes out as
1.5. So that's going to
okay,
be
so
1 to 2, I guess.
1 to 2.
Okay.
So on the odds die roll.
Well, I get to take a pot shot at you first, right?
Oh, take the pot shot. Absolutely. Sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to have 2 factors. I get a +1 for defensive fire. And
yes,
that's it, right? I don't see any other modifiers. Okay, here we
and
go.
it's a 2, right?
Yep,
You're
it's on the 2 chart. And so that's a miss. Okay, so now we're over to the other thing, right? So I've got, so it's a 1 to 2, so there's a +1.
Now this is interesting because we're using the new odds die roll modifiers. So the odds for cavalry are different than infantry assaulting.
Correct.
So it's a +1 for a 1 to 2. It would be a +2 if infantry were assaulting.
Yep. So it's a +1. Those guys are just regular old veterans. We're not Russians. We're not being charged from more than 1 hex. Not being charged through the rear, this, that, whatever else. You're not Lancers.
They are Lancers.
Oh, they are Lancers.
Yes.
Oh, they are. Okay. So the Lancers, they have -2. Okay. And then it's a short charge, so it's a +2. So it looks like the net result is a +1.
Yep, but then it says cavalry against infantry not in square, so it's a -3.
So where's that?
That's right below is our, it's on the assaulting charging fifth one down.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay, that's nasty.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay.
So that's then a net -2.
Net -2.
Okay. And so that's going to be a hit, and it's actually going to be 2 hits, right? Since it's cavalry.
Right.
Okay.
So that's actually 4 though, because it's 2 each.
Oh, they each do, not just the top unit?
You know, if I'm reading it correctly, if charged by cavalry, the charged units retreat and infantry units lose 2 stacking points each.
Oh, wow. This is nasty.
Go Lancers!
Well, no, I mean, it's, as I said, I think this is where things might be broken because there's no way to kind of come to grips with. I can't move in and then go form square because I can't change formation adjacent to you.
But let's go back, undo those. We could actually, I didn't think of this. You can form a square when you're charged. So
Oh, really?
You do have a chance. Yeah. So
Oh,
even if it's a reaction, you can roll on the square roll first. We should have done that first. I'm sorry. I get excited too.
oh, I thought I could only form square during the when you were active.
No, it's a reaction charge. You get to form a square, but your distance is 1. So that's a -3 to your square roll.
Right. And I think what do I have to do to roll to form square?
It's on the assault table at the bottom in the right corner. Square
Forming
rolls
square.
succeed on a 2d6 of 8 or more. So in this case, it's a 5 or more. Excuse me, an 8 or more. So
So with a
you get a 3 off the die.
-3, right? So
Right.
if I'd have to roll, so basically I'd have to roll a 11 or 12 in order to
Right.
form square.
Yep. From 1 hex.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the odds of that happening are less than
Low.
10%.
Low. But I got the -2, or got the 2 malice for being a adjacent, a short distance charge.
Right.
You
Well, I
think we're
might as
figuring
well.
this
I
out
mean, I
correctly?
would if I fail, right? I lose 1 increment, right?
You lose 1 increment, and I'm gonna just check. I think that's it.
Right. So it says if the unit fails, or in the case of a stack, loses 1 SP, stays in place in its original formation, an infantry unit or stack of infantry artillery units has only 1 chance to be per activated cavalry unit to try to form square.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it's worth trying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Give it a shot.
Yeah. So see if I get very lucky, and I don't. So now the same thing happens, but now I've just lost 1 more increment. And now I'm going to go back 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's
You have
good.
to retreat if you fail square.
No, 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 no. I have to retreat because we did this combat,
Right.
right? So
Right.
I'm presuming all the results were the same as they were before, right?
Yeah, they were.
So we still have that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gets me there. And
Absolutely.
then you have to advance into the hex.
I believe I do.
Yeah, and you're tired. All right.
Okay.
So now the question is, what can we do to abuse you? Or what can we do to correct that? 1, 2. 3. Okay, so we can move this guy there. And let's see, we're going to move the infantry. Well, actually, this guy hadn't moved yet, had he? He would have been here because he reaction moved when I moved the infantry up there, right? So he hasn't
Yep,
technically moved yet, unless you. Well, actually, you did move him, and then
yeah.
this guy did the reaction charge. Okay, all right.
Right.
Cool. So let's go ahead and we'll move these guys up. Do you want to reaction move or evade?
And that charge is not open to me because I'm a Cossack.
You'd have to make a morale check. So you have to roll.
From the front. I can't attack anywhere in the frontal hexes of
Oh,
enemy
you can't.
units.
Oh, okay. So I guess
Yeah,
then you
and then
can
now let me
reaction
just
charge.
check that now that I said it. But I think you have to check if you're let me go to my rules and look at Cossacks. Yeah, so the Cossacks. I think I have to roll if I hit your flanks or your rear.
Oh, yeah.
Cossacks.
Cannot attack enemy or unlimbered through their initial front hex. If you want to charge enemy cavalry, you've got to pass a morale check. Okay. So basically, they're not very offensive.
No.
Okay.
They're kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing. Cossacks want to charge enemy cavalry. They must roll a die check. Cossacks may always evade. Cossacks may not charge enemy infantry or unlimbered units through their initial front hex. Okay, well, so that means that I can't countercharge. So that's correct in what I thought.
Right.
Yeah, I will withdraw one.
Okay. All
Evade.
right. And then I can move forward. So that's 3-4.
Okay. And this guy will evade 1, 2, here. This guy, he can't evade a second time from the second guy, I think. So let me just read that because I saw that a minute ago.
Well, I thought the Cossacks were magical. So regular cavalry evasion. It
Yes,
doesn't.
I can.
Yeah.
I can. You're right.
Yeah, and I think that's true for regular cavalry as well. It says cavalry units
I
may
can check
always
the time.
evade by retreating one hex if an enemy infantry or artillery is in an adjacent hex or at the beginning of the simultaneous fire movement. If an enemy infantry moves adjacent or if the opposing player declares a charge with the infantry unit.
I misread that.
Yeah, so it looks like, if we could keep doing it, the difference is if I were to move into the front of a
Regular cavalry.
regular cavalry, I would have to stop.
Right.
I couldn't keep moving. But with the Cossacks, I can keep moving, but it's just going to cost me extra movement points.
Right.
All right, so they move back. All right, so at this point, so could I move these guys then? So they've moved 2, 4. Can I move them here? And
Yes,
then,
I think you can.
And then declare an assault against those guys.
I can, but cavalry has a chance to evade infantry.
I know,
but I can't get away from you.
But yeah, because I'm adjacent to you. I've kind of got you squeezed. Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out is like how to kind of deal with.
Wow,
with
me
that.
too. This is great. So you can use a chopsticks kind of thing. Get them from both sides.
Yeah, I think that's the only practical way to do it. Because otherwise, it's going to boil down to what's going on with the boil down to what's going on with artillery is the only other way to kind of deal with it. So let's see. I still have, so those guys are done. So I can go to, I still have these guys to move. So where should I set them?
Hold on. Cavalry is on the back when they reaction charge. Reaction fire. Reaction defensive fire. This would be a major flaw if what I think might be here.
Which is what?
Can I reaction charge a second time
when I'm tired? No, you're tired.
I don't. But yeah. Okay, I just wanted to look that up, right? Because I think there was something about that. Reaction fire combat evasion doesn't trigger.
So it's right here. Fire. Any unit that moves into the front hex of an enemy unit provokes a possible reaction charge if that cavalry unit is not tired.
That's it. Good. Okay, that's where I wanted to see it. Perfect.
Yeah. So otherwise, yes, Otherwise, it would be broken.
Yeah.
And in the rule version 1.3, which we were playing when we were trying to do it out at Consim,
Uh-huh.
I had one cavalry unit that held off an entire, I think it was the entire Russian right wing cavalry. He moved something up, and I reaction charged it, and then I'm tired, and then the next guy moves up, and I reaction charged it, and I reaction charged with this one unit. He reaction charged like 4 regiments of Russian cavalry and sent them all scattering, and we're just like,
That's like
oh, this
Fort
is
Apache
completely,
rules.
yeah. I'm just like, this is ridiculous, and so that went
Yeah.
on the list of broken things with the rules. So I'm glad that they
Yeah.
fixed that because yeah, otherwise, the cavalry is super powerful as it is. Um, Probably more powerful. But I mean, with all of the games rules that are out there, they always get something is a little too powerful. So with some of the games,
Yeah.
it's like the artillery is too powerful. With some, it's the infantry is, and some the cavalry is. So trying to find the balance in the Napoleonic system is really hard.
Yeah. I
Um,
I do not feel like cavalry is like the first SS Panzer Division. It's not like something that huge that's attacking, but it's powerful.
yeah.
All right. So
Okay. So
we'll
I've
keep on
got
moving.
I've
Sorry
got
about that.
those moved. Let's see if I can figure out what to do with the rest of these people. 1, 2, 3. We'll move those guys there. Do you want to evade?
I will evade.
Okay, and then these guys are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and then Mr. Davout will stay where he's at, and Friant. Well, Friant can go right here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the people that ran away. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're fine. All right, I can't move. Oh, actually, I could move these guns, right? They can go over the top of those guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll move the guns up. All right, that is my exciting movement part. So now we have combat. So I've got these two are going to attack you here. So that's, you don't have, there's no
4-1.
defensive fire, right?
Yep. There's no defensive fire.
Okay, so I got 14 and 14. I got 28 to 8. So I've got 3-to-1 odds. And 3-to-1 odds is going to give me, it's going to be a -2. There's not anything for rear or flank or anything like that.
But it's Russian, so it's +1. So it's
Yeah,
a
plus
-1 now.
So it's a -1. Okay. You're being attacked from more than one hex. So that's another -1. So we're back up to -2.
-2.
There's no leaders. Okay, so then we go down to the assaulting units. I don't think there's anything special there. And you being tired doesn't affect, it only affects you when you're on the attack, not on the defense.
Right.
So are we just at a straight up -2?
I think we're at a -2. But here's two questions for you. I
Yeah.
would like clarification from this from Sounds of Drums. Is cavalry against infantry not in square? So that means it has to be a cavalry unit to do it. It's not a condition. Cavalry against infantry. It has to be the cavalry assaulting, I think is the right one.
Well, because when we're looking at that one, yes, it's the
Yeah.
assaulting charging unit is cavalry against
Yep.
infantry, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. It's the unit. Yep, 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 yep,
yeah,
yep, yep.
yeah. So it's not a universal thing. So just like you being
Yep.
tired only impacts you when you're on the attack. It's not
Yeah,
impacting you when you're on the defense, which is interesting.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, okay, so we've
I
got
can
a.
see tired affecting you both ways. I mean, if you're tired, you probably won't defend as well. But
You would think, but that's I know in La Bataille, if you're tired, whether you're on the attack or the defense, your melee's
well, the
halved or whatever it
malice.
is. Yeah, yeah. So you suffer either way. All right, so we're just going to roll with a -2 and see what we get. So that's going to be a 6. So that's modified down to a 4. So that's going to
Oh yeah.
be a fail.
All right. So he's got to lose 1 point each, and he's got to retreat half his movement rounded up. So
Yeah,
that is 4. And he's got to go through your zone of control, which isn't the zone of control. So he
right.
takes another loss. 1, oops, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. All right, and then I need to proceed to occupy the hex. So I will push those guys in for what it's worth. Okay, and that ends my activation.
Okay.
So now we are over to the bag again.
All
And
right,
so why don't you go
and
ahead and
back.
pull?
Yep, there we go. A Russian cube.
It's a Russian. Let's see what the wacky Russians decide to do here.
The wily Russian is going to move the cavalry reserve.
Okay.
So just thinking here.
That's always dangerous.
Yeah. But better than talking, my wife often says, please don't use your words.
How long have you been married?
22 years.
There you go. At this point, you should just probably know.
Should, probably. That all sounds very subjunctive to me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think subjunctive is the word you're looking for. Wouldn't it be
Well, could
subjective?
is. Could is a subjunctive case, I think.
Okay, okay. I'm married to an English major. You'd think I'd know by now.
Well, she probably doesn't tell you to keep your mouth shut. So that's pretty nice.
Well, no, she just will shoot me a glance and I'll know.
Oh, ow. Okay, good. All right, so we're going to. Oh wait, I have to check my command range.
Yeah, everybody
So
was
he
in
is
except for
indeed
that one Cossack out on the.
the one I want to move.
Yeah.
Gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right. So you got people that are moving around.
Yeah.
Okay. So how are you handling this when you are doing stuff? So like you had a guy that was over here that was moving. Was that like a chance for me to form square?
Oh, yeah,
I'm trying to
absolutely.
get an
For you,
idea.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yep,
get an
yep,
idea
yep.
of how. So, like, you've got a guy that's right here, or you got a guy that's right here, but that you moved a guy over there. So I'm like, oh, that guy's 4 away. I can automatically form square.
When something activates and it's 4 hexes apart, a cavalry 4 hexes apart, you have a chance to form square. Absolutely, right now. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So that would be the smart thing for them to do. Um, yeah, but I was just trying to get a sense of with the because there's already somebody who's closer, but I'm trying to get a sense of with the because
Yeah,
normally with
there is
lava
somebody
tie, it's a
closer.
case where like you're moving the guy um, and I know normally, right? You'd say, okay, I'm declaring a charge. This guy's moving, and then I could react to it. Um, but this one, I wanted to try to get a sense of how it works. Okay, so if an infantry unit or stack of infantry units has an activated moving enemy cavalry unit within 4 hexes of itself, 3 intervening hexes may change its formation into square at any time. Okay. So if the cavalry unit already started closer than 4 hexes, then the infantry must roll per below. The infantry unit must have a free line of sight to the enemy cavalry unit. The decision must be taken in a moment. If the line of sight is blocked by a friendly unit in square, the infantry may change its formation to square, although the line of sight technically is blocked. Okay, so I'm trying to get a sense here. If you were going to attack, the thing to do would be to move these guys to block my line of sight, right? Move somebody up, block my line of sight, because if you move these guys first, and they're not part of the attack, but they're part of maybe some reserve movement that you're doing, then I see those, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to form square. And now this guy, if he was going to attack, he couldn't because, well, he still could attack, but it would be less intelligent thing to do.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, this is where it's a little bit interesting. Okay, cool. Carry on with your
That's what I want
movement.
to do for my move. But I'm going to declare an assault here from the cuirassiers.
I kind of guessed that. All
Okay.
right. So let's take a look. There's no defensive fire that I'm aware of. So we just go straight to the odds. The odds are 1 to 1. So there's no pluses or minuses there. I'm not being charged with the flank or the rear or anything like that. Okay, so I don't see anything there. The assaulting unit didn't lose anything. You're not elite. It's not a short distance charge. It's heavy cavalry against. Are those guys considered heavy cavalry or not?
Cuirassiers are the only heavy cavalry in the game.
No, there was one other one. Cuirassiers and Grenadiers à cheval. Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
so
Grenadiers of Cheval.
yeah.
I haven't
Okay.
even moved one of those in this game yet.
I think those are only with the French Imperial Guard. Okay.
I think you're right.
So you've got a -2 for that. And there don't seem to be any other die roll modifiers than that. Okay.
I don't think there was.
Go ahead and roll. So that's going to make it a 5. So that's going to be a loss. So we will take a loss. And we go back 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 gets us there, I guess.
I think so.
Okay. Well, it depends, right? So are we counting these guys in where I have to get further away, or just I'm getting further away from this guy?
The retreat rules are that you must increase distance from the assaulting unit. You
Okay.
should increase distance from units in line of sight unless there's no other path.
Okay.
So if you were blocked here, then you could move closer to this one as long as you're moving farther from that one. But it's not blocked, so you're where you are is perfect.
Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to kind of get a sense, because otherwise I would have had to, if I'm trying to get away from that guy as well, then that
Yeah,
would force me here, which then push the guns back. So that's why I was trying
yeah,
to get a sense of what's the, because I know like with the regs rules, which we're playing with the Moscow game, that becomes a factor kind of a thing. Okay,
yeah.
cool. So that
I'm
happened.
going to do a video on so you want to conduct a retreat and try and go through all of these because it's not even now when it's been quote clarified, it's not super clear.
Right. All right. So then your cavalry is going to advance into that hex,
I'd
and
prefer not to. I don't know if I have to. Do I?
I
I'm not sure.
I think you have to, and then you'd
All
be
right, there we go.
tired, right? But let's just double check. Bup, 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 bup. Results. Um, oh, it says here the assaulting may enter the hex after the
Oh,
advance. Oh, stacking limits must be applied. So it
I'm going to
looks
save
like it
that.
is. It looks like it is
Optional.
optional. When the assaulting unit may enter the hex after the advance, stacking limits must be applied. Advancing units keep their formation, but may choose any facing. If the charging units have different formations, the player of the advancing units must decide which unit to advance. The owning player must decide which units advance into the vacated hex. When a unit advances after combat, it doesn't draw reaction fire or a reaction charge. Yeah, so it looks like at least that little bit of wording, um, although that doesn't make any sense because it says you're going to move into the hex. In another section of the assault, it says you're moving into the hex is you're doing the assault. So it says when a unit wants to enter an enemy occupied hex, it must declare an assault or charge.
Yeah, it shouldn't say when it wants to enter another hex. It says when you want to assault a hex,
Yeah,
and
so you
then
think
it's your choice to enter.
that's just
But it doesn't
bad.
now. It's contradictory.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's why I was
You're right.
like, wait, it's weird because you're declaring that you're going to go into that hex, which is the whole reason why you're attacking it.
I will bring it up with the editors.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it makes sense that you'd enter that hex. So, okay,
So I've entered it.
yeah,
Okay.
all right. Oh, William Arends is sending his greeting. He says the snow is falling on a cold day in Kitchener, Ontario, making this a very Eylau winter kind of day here. Yes, I am sure. I am sure it is.
It's
All
cold and
right.
foggy here, but there's no snow. We
All
actually
right.
have foghorns at night here because of the river. So we've had
Oh, okay. Which
which is a
river
sound I
are
really
you
love.
off? Are you the Columbia or the?
Columbia.
Okay.
We're on the Columbia.
All right. Well, very nice. And where are you in relations to the big dam that's up there, up the Columbia?
We are we are closer to Portland on the other side than Portland is to the dams on the other side. So
Okay.
we're probably Portland is about 40% of the way to the dams.
Okay. All right. So
And
you're
the dam there is just the Bonneville Dam. The big one, the Cooley Dam, we're 200 miles probably,
okay.
150 miles.
Yeah, no, no, no. I'm talking about the one that's a little closer to Portland there. Okay. Well, nice. Yeah, I when I was up there visiting my brother a couple years back, we drove to this very interesting art museum that's on the northern side of the Columbia River, and it's like in the middle of nowhere. And it
Oh, I
was,
don't know it.
yeah, it was built by, I want to say this gal was maybe Polish royalty or Russian royalty or something, and or maybe uh, but and some big industrialist in the area, and he was like going to develop some sort of farm community or some sort of community there. So it's this grand house that's got this, it's there built on the bluff, and it's got this great view. But then like nobody moved out there, and so he
Yeah.
collected art and everything else and turned it into this art gallery. But I mean, it's like, and I think it took us an hour and a half or more to drive out from Portland to get there, and yeah, it's this a very interesting art museum in this very interesting sort of house chateau kind of thing that this guy built. He's got a collection of stuff, but it's this, just like, what is this doing here? But back
Well,
then, I
there's a
think,
lot of weird stuff like that in Oregon.
yeah,
Uh, y- we're not old like the East Coast states, but we had all that population flooding in for farming in the 1850s,
right,
and there's lighthouses that are abandoned, and there's ghost towns, and there's all sorts of stuff. It's really very Western when you're like more than 50 miles away from Portland.
right,
Yeah, real agricultural, rural. I had to drive down to Eugene, and that's all through farming country, and it's just farm after farm after farm after farm after farm.
right.
Anyway,
Okay, well, I think we're getting up to
we have to
the
wrap
top
up.
of the hour. Let's go ahead and draw our cube so we'll know where we're starting next time we get together.
You draw.
Okay. Hey, it'll be the French.
Woohoo!
All right, so I'll get to plot my revenge. Yeah, so this
Voila.
is a very interesting little puzzle to try to deal with all this cavalry. Um, yeah, yeah, there's not a lot of things that you can do because you can run away from me, and I don't have enough cavalry to counter you. So it's going to be a slog. And how many turns is this scenario?
It's not long. This is there are 4 turns after this one.
Okay, so
It goes till
we
we can find out.
are,
I'll find out exactly when. Hold on.
yeah,
I'm going
so
there.
let's see. Last turn is the 1 p.m. turn. So we start off at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Yeah, so it's 5 turns,
Yeah.
right? And we're
That's
already
really
on
hard ask.
and we're already on turn number 2, right?
Yep.
So we have 3
Yep.
turns. So at this rate, I don't think it's possible for me to even reach those 2 villages at this rate of movement, right?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
and that's
I mean,
because it's impossible to the game system doesn't really allow the infantry to in any way tackle the cavalry.
no, the cavalry is almost untouchable. I mean, you can get defensive fire shots.
Well, that's only
Yeah.
if you attack it. If you're just using it as a purely screening, you never
Yeah.
reaction charge. You just have it as a screen. I move up, you move back 1 hex. Okay. Next
But you can.
activation. You move up 1, I move up 1, you move back 1 hex.
Well, it's a little bit more than that because you can activate multiple units per activation. So the first unit forces the cavalry to go back. The second unit can move into where the cavalry has moved
No, no,
to
no, no,
and
no,
force
no,
them
no,
to move
no,
in.
no, no. I move up. You don't move back. I move another unit up. You don't move back.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Then what do you
And
do?
then
Right.
I say, well, I'm going to assault you. Then you move back. Or I'm like, okay, I'm not going to assault you. I'm going to wait for the fire cube. The fire cube comes up. You move back, right? You
You're
could
right.
you could force the French to use 3 activations and only move forward 3 hexes.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's why I moved
I,
Friant
I got to
up
do
as
better.
fast as I did to try to gain some ground, because if you'd moved your cavalry forward down here into where basically Morand is right now, I knew
Yep.
there'd be absolutely no way I could ever reach those villages. But even now, between the cavalry you have here and the cavalry you have here with Bagavoo, um, you
Yep.
could stymie me. And so let's just say, looking at where I am right now with these guys, I've got 2 more activations. So say I move them forward 2 hexes, right? And you've
Yep.
got the screen. And so then there's another 1, 2, 3 hexes. So that's the 3rd turn. 1, 2, 3. There's the 4th turn, right? I'm
Let's.
just
Yeah.
I'm just barely getting to Klein Garden. There's no way I can make it to this other one. Um,
Yeah.
and that's just with these guys, right? And there's no way I can take Klein Garden with those 2. Um, yeah, there's something that's not quite right with the cavalry. The only way that it's going to work is if, in the case like this, so this coming turn, right, I can do the same thing where I come up and I put the squeeze on this guy, and he can't get away, because he's already charged, so he's tired. But so what? You just fall back a couple of hexes and you just activate these guys, and you have this screen, and then you've got these guys, and you make a screen with those.
Yeah, it's sure favoring cavalry a lot in this defensive mode. So yeah, I think that's an issue. I think that we should be open to calling the game the next time we play if it keeps going like that, because I don't think there's any way you can't get Melokinum. You can't.
Yeah, there's
Um,
there's there's no way, and even getting into Klein Garden
Plains-
is going to be, you just have that screen of cavalry, and this is where we noticed the problem when we were, not you and I, but my friend Michael and I, when we were playing it. It was just like the cavalry really is too powerful, right? It should be the case that um, the infantry's got to have something that it can do to the cavalry. But even in the fire phase, the cavalry just can still pull back. The infantry decide to attack, they can pull back. So in like La Bataille, if the cavalry is exhausted, it can't retreat from the infantry, right? So in this case, if you had it where, if they adjusted the rules so that tired cavalry can't evade, then that would then give the infantry a chance to do something.
I agree, but in this case, it wouldn't matter because of the overwhelming number of units I've got.
Yeah,
It's not even the
yeah, and
strength; it's
and
the fact
so
I got a
yeah,
bunch
just
of these guys.
yep. And so what you would do is you would never attack me, so that you would then never be tired, right? And then you just always fall back. And so if I try to attack you, you fall back. If the activation red cube comes up, you fall back. So the only way I could maybe do something would be to hit you with artillery, force a morale check, and then maybe somebody bugs out and becomes tired.
Yeah,
But you've got so much cavalry, it's not. Yeah, well, I'll look at it, but yeah, just looking at how it is from a mechanics point of view, in this particular situation, there's no point in really pushing it much. We'll mess around with it next week, but I
yeah.
haven't figured out a
I'm
way.
also going to
Given
look.
the way the rules are, there doesn't seem to be anything other short of just pure artillery. And then this is the other thing, in La Bataille, the cavalry is a big fat target. Here, the only people that have that are targets are infantry, right? So artillery is
Meaning the only
firing
ones
on square,
that
firing in
get
column,
rings.
right?
Mhm.
So there's no pluses for firing on cavalry,
I think
right?
that's a good point. I will bring that up too.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
Um,
the sort of thing that
and I,
it really does. The cavalry really does is a little bit overpowered in the current rule system.
you might want to like post a note to Uwe in your copious free time.
Yeah.
But I was going to say I think that Renato
Right.
has compensated by adding a cavalry division here for the French flank.
Yeah,
I
they
think
definitely
it's
need
one of the
it.
dragoons.
They need one of the dragoon divisions over here to have a fighting chance,
Yeah,
because the
I
two
think he's
light
done that.
aren't enough. Um, yeah, interesting. Okay, well, we'll mess around with
I
it
feel
again next
bad for
week.
being gamey, but I think that this is the right solution for this puzzle.
Oh, it
I'm
absolutely
okay
is.
with
There's
it.
no point in you sticking around. Um, I mean, the only thing that I could do would be if we were playing with the activation cubes, not the activation cubes, but with the fatigue point
Sequence.
cubes, is make an attack on your guns. And then
It's
in order to defend your guns, you're going to have to commit something and you're going to have to stick around. Um, because otherwise you'd be losing your guns, and then you're losing fatigue points or whatever.
And I
Um,
lost 5 already for Sarpalin. So this would, if you took my artillery, that would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. That would already be 14 cubes taken off. And in a game like this, you're probably only talking about 15 cubes, fatigue points total. Excuse me, 50 cube points total. So you would have, if you had done that, that would have gotten me a lot closer to a collapse.
right, and that would then force you to
Defend.
have defend as opposed to just fall back, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's maybe another way to balance it and force the Russians to stick around. Because right now, if I attack your guns and wipe them out, there's okay, great, good for you, right? There's nothing in my favor for that,
Right.
um, and for and historically, right? Yes, you guys would have been falling back, but um, it would have been more of a I don't know, a fighting withdrawal, perhaps.
It would have been a lot more pressure for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. But right now, you've got that cavalry screen, and there's really not much I can do about it. So, um, yeah, there's so Grim Harbinger chimes in. Cavalry is the arm of decision, not tanks, and once committed, it's pretty much that's it for the battle. Yeah, and a lot of times the cavalry, once it does its one charge, you don't see a lot of times where it's reforming and charging three or four times in the rest of the battle. It's a lot of times that's it. They do the
It's
charge, they
certainly
do a couple of charges,
for
and they're
major
done.
combat. Not
Yeah,
you don't see multiple charges for sure.
yeah,
You may see screening actions or other things, but
yeah,
reaction charges, but not planned charges. That's a one-time deal usually.
yeah. Well, and so that would be the only thing. I think they should do something where if they had it where tired cavalry can't evade, then you have an interesting decision. Do you do the reaction charge and make yourself tired, or do you keep yourself fresh so that you can run away? But once you do the reaction charge, then you're vulnerable to an infantry attack.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
think they need to do something like that so that way the cavalry. But then again, you know, uh, yeah, I mean, that's really the case where the cavalry, or if you're tired, you've got that penalty in combat on both sides of it, not just as the attacker.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah.
It's not balanced yet. This needs tweaking.
Yeah. No, it really is a case where the cavalry is overpowered. Um,
versus infantry
well, versus
specifically.
yeah, specifically. I mean, against other cavalry, it's fine, right? But um, against infantry, there's the infantry are completely helpless, right? And so um, short of being in square, and in this situation you can't be in square as much as you'd like to, I guess, or it's harder to do. So yeah, Grim Harbinger says, yeah, look at Murat's charge at Eylau. It caused massive chaos on the Russian line and smashed a huge hole. Um, but the Russians quickly moved to cut them off. Yeah, yeah. And so in this particular system, you can't. There's no way to catch the cavalry. So even tired cavalry, there's no way to catch it with infantry. The cavalry is just only countered by other cavalry.
You could do it, Eric, if you had something like a cavalry division here, right? If this were a French cavalry division
Here,
and
let
a
me
French
see
infantry
where you
division
at.
where you're coming now, I'm at the
Okay.
bottom of the map near Sapali.
Oh, okay.
If your infantry were coming from here and you had cavalry here, you could play that pincher game
Yeah.
here in the middle. But that's a pretty specific set of conditions, and of course, there's not enough cavalry to do it here. So
Well,
in the brightest of
I can still squeeze this guy, right? So in my next activation, if I get Moran, this guy can come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And
Mhm.
then we can put the hit on him, right?
I don't mind telling you that's going to be a priority for me to move it away.
Right, but you're
But
not going to be able to move away because if I'm
because you have
here, then
you two have the blue cube.
I'll have you surrounded, kind of a thing, right? And it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
blue
yeah.
cube is coming next. If it was a green cube,
But
then
only
yeah, you'd
because it's
pull
a
out.
blue cube.
Yep.
If you hadn't pulled it already, it would be a 50-50 chance for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I mean,
Well,
and then the best I can do is get 2 hits on this guy, and he falls back here, and he's ready to screen again. It's just like, oh my gosh, yeah,
well, they're hour-long turns too, right? Instead
yeah,
of 20-minute, or if you're doing tactic Napoleon, 30-minute. But anyway.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay,
look, Eric, you've got to go off and start fencing. I've got to
I do. I
go
have to
off and
be
start cooking.
offensive.
You're not offensive. All right. Well, good luck.
All right, be
And
well.
thank you for the game. I had a
Yeah,
great
no,
time.
this was fun. I will catch you next week, and we'll mess around with this some more, and then maybe look at one of the other scenarios and give
I think
that a
that'd be
shot
great. I
too.
still never played Murat's cavalry charge, so
Okay, well, we can give
get to
that a try
explore
and
more
see
on
how
it.
that goes too. All right, be
Okay.
well, and
You
farewell,
too.
everybody who's out there tuning in. Be well.
Bye bye.